Hey all, um, in this video I'll talk a little bit about my latest blog post. And my latest blog post is about building your first iOS app for non-engineers. So this blog is targeted towards people who don't really have a computer science degree or they don't really have an engineering background, and it's for them and they just have some sort of basic knowledge of Swift or like coding, because I'm not going to teach you how to code in this, but they have some basic knowledge of that, and they have Xcode installed in their MacBook, which they obviously have as well. So yeah, MacBook Xcode installed and some really basic knowledge of Swift. Uh, Actually, I'm not even sure if you really, because I what I've done in this blog post is I've really given a proper walkthrough, complete walkthrough of it's just there's a lot of hand holding happening in this blog post. So I'll guide you to I'll guide you to building your first iOS app to the point that it's ready to be submitted to the App Store. Exactly. Um, yeah. So why did I write this post? Even though this is not really my usual style of blog post. Well, some time ago, a friend of mine came over to my place for lunch. Someone I know came over to my place for lunch. Let's just call friend. And yeah, after lunch, this friend had a phone call. It was important, so had to take the phone call. And this friend was actually speaking on the phone. And after about 5 or 10 minutes, I was like, okay, I'm getting bored. So what do I do? So I went back to my laptop and I started. I was I was doing something on. I was building something in Xcode. I was working on an iOS app. So this friend came over after finishing the phone call and saw what I was doing, asked me what I was doing. I was like, no, I'm building an iOS app. And this friend was like, and so I showed this friend what was I doing. And at that point, this friend was like, it's it doesn't seem very difficult. I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely right. It is not that difficult. I can build it. You can build this too. You can totally build you can totally build an iOS app. So I was like, cool. This is motivation for me to write this sort of blog post. Yeah. Um, Now, normally, as I said, this is not my usual style of blog post. Normally, what I blog about is really very specific problems that I do solve. So something like figuring out why is there a discrepancy in my analytics data with regards to users from China, because I'm using Google technologies for analytics in my app to monitor how the users use my apps. So Google is supposed to be blocked in China. So why do I get some data in my analytics console from users in China? Like why? So I think so. My blog would be about figuring such things out, or something like when I was building a multi-platform app on iOS and native iOS versus hybrid Android, and um, how I solved the date discrepancy between the two when syncing data. When syncing data on Android, like reading it through JavaScript, because Android was built the hybrid way, and then doing the same thing in reading the date value, like the time in milliseconds in Swift in iOS native. So yeah. So those are my usual style of blog posts, but this is like a really beginner's level blog post. So I'm like, yeah, let's like after after hearing my friend, I was like, yeah, you know what, I should empower people like my friend to build an iOS app. Empower, get it? Empower. I'm not sure what is about that word, empower. Well, it is sort of it is empowering. Yeah. To So yeah, that's what this is about. So this post, the app that you'll be building in this post is the tip calculator, and the tip calculator, well, to calculate the tip based on the bill that you got at the end of dinner. And tipping is not something that we do over here in Australia. It's not that common as it is in the US. I remember when I was in the US, and then we had dinner, and then the waiter came, wait staff came, and then saw the bill. I had paid the exact amount of the bill, and the wait staff was sort of, am I like, oh, so took it and then put the bill back down. And I was like, what are you doing? And then my friend was really embarrassed. He's like, well, he's not from around here. And he gave the waiter the tip. So anyway, yeah, you're building a tip calculator app. And one of the things that I've actually done in this blog post is I've actually attached screenshots. And these screenshots, what they do is they basically they show you how to do certain things in Xcode environment. So things like how to bring up the assistant data, how to actually control drag from the UI, from the storyboard to the view controller, etc., etc. Yeah, and again, I am I'm a stickler for details. So this may or not this may or may not have been necessary for this entry level blog post, but I've taken the initiative to actually tell you. I use the word actually a lot. I've realized. Anyway, I've taken the initiative to tell you, educate people reading this about what storyboards are, what IB outlets are, like IB outlets, what an interface builder is, how to, what does connecting the UI, the storyboard, to the view controller, what does that achieve? What are we hoping to achieve by doing that? And I've also talked a little bit about things like what guard statements are in Swift. Guard statements, it's something really specific to Swift. I haven't seen them in any other language. By any other language, I mean JavaScript, TypeScript, Java. I haven't played with the most recent version of Java, so I don't know if they've added guard statements in Java, but yeah. So yeah, in addition to that, I've actually given you all the details of some of this extra detail that you need to know. And one of the things that I don't normally do that I've done in this post, and I noticed that it's really common to do this in the iOS world, is I've actually attached starter and final project. What that means is, so you start off with the starting project. So it's something where some of the things like the UI elements, it's all set up for you. So all you need to do is just basically, so that's your starting point, and then all you need to do is you need to sort of connect the UI to the code. So and I've read a little bit about what's front end and what's back end, because traditionally traditionally I'm a Java developer. I mean, I'm a full stack Java dev. And what do you do in full stack as a full stack Java developer? You write a bit of code in the front end, like the HTML5 using JavaScript, or whatever framework like jQuery, Angular, or whatever. And then you use something in the back end, which is like either, I don't know. I started with struts, struts, and then Spring Framework, or those sort of things, or even just plain old Java, like I don't know, using Jax RS, those building a a RESTful client using the HTTP library, the Apache. Anyway, so yeah, I've also talked a little bit about that. So you have the starter project and the final project. So a project that you start from, and then you know what it looks like, you know what the final product looks like. And one of the things that I've also done, one of the things that I have as part of the code, but it's not really, I haven't really explained that, is the use of number, the use of the NS number class in iOS to do the currency calculate, to do the calculation for the tipping calculations. I've actually that's part in the code to actually calculate the tip amount and the total amount. I'm using that, but I haven't really explained exactly why you need to do that and exactly why we're doing that. And I don't think, personally, I don't think it was necessary for this level of blog post. Maybe I'll write something. I'll write a more detailed blog post about it. Uh, Another detailed blog post about it. So that's what I'll have a go at that. And yeah, so check it out. I mean, have a look at this blog post and then say, have a read of it. And if you've got any sort of feedback, or I don't know, if there's anything that's not very clear to you, please leave a comment. I'll be more than happy to address your comment, and then yeah, see how you go with that. But yeah, with this one, you can actually build a full-fledged iOS app that you can submit to the App Store. I've also made some random, created a little icon using Pixelmator. Yeah, startup life for you, mate. Like that's, you need to wear all bloody hats. But anyway, it is what it is. Yeah, I've created an icon. Not a skill that I thought I would have, but yeah, I can make app icons. It's a really basic icon, and what that does is it makes sure that this app that you make is ready to submit to the App Store for review. So yeah, have a go at it, have fun with it, and that's it. Um, for those of you who watched this video, I wish you well, live long and prosper.